Hey guys, what's going on? Bob here from Poigan Outdoors. Hope you're all doing well. In this video, we're actually going to be going over the 25-hour and 100-hour maintenance you have to do on your Toro 75750. It's a Toro Timecutter with a 50-inch deck. So stay tuned. So for you guys, so you can see here, I got 101.4 hours. Yeah, this just further emphasizes why it's important to have an hour meter on your machine. It makes it really easy for maintenance like this. So there you go. Alright, so let's go over the supplies you guys need. So again, I said in the beginning of the video that it'll be for the 25-hour maintenance and the 100-hour maintenance. I'll put down on the below on the screen here so that you guys know. And since, you know, every 25 hours we're at the 100-hour mark, we gotta be doing it anyways. So again, I'll just put that down at the bottom here for you. First thing is I have my operator's manual here. Just go through the steps. It starts on page 33 if you want to look in your book. Otherwise, I'm going to go through all the steps on here anyways, so just listen along. Next thing I got here is a spare belt. I'm going to inspect the belt here. I don't know if I have to replace it or not, but I'm going to be looking at it, so I have that here. And as I get to each part here, I'll give you all the part numbers and everything as we go along, so I'll get you all that. Next thing you're going to need is some oil, so I use Valvoline 10W30. I got a funnel. Here's your hose, and I believe this is a 1/2-inch hose. Yep, it's a 1/2-inch hose to drain your oil. Oil filter wrench. You may or may not need that. Usually they tighten up, so I just have it on there. We got our oil filter. Something to put our oil in. And actually, from one of you that commented on my last oil change video that I'll put up in the corner here, recommended to put this dish in here for the oil filter when you take that off and then a little bit of drainage comes. So I'm going to use that, see how that works. You're going to need a grease gun. I absolutely hate these things, these little grease guns, but you're going to need that to grease the two bearings. You're going to need your air filter here. I'm going to inspect my air filter. I may or may not change it. I blow it out after every use. But we're going to go take a look at it, and I'll get you the part number on there. We are going to have to check for spark plugs. So this is a 13/16 socket here on a 3/8 drive, and we have our filler gap here for the spacing for the spark plug. And then also you're going to need a 10mm socket, and I just have this adapter here so that I can undo the oil drain, the drain plug there. And then I do have a fuel filter here. I don't think this is going to need to be replaced, but we're going to inspect it. But that is in the 100 hours. And then I have my torque wrench here for the spark plugs. So you'll see that. But anyways, yep, that's all you're going to need here. And let's get to it. Oh yeah, and I forgot. You're going to need tire pressure gauges and possibly an air tank. We do have to check the tire pressure. So here we go. Alrighty, the first thing here is we're going to grease the bearings for the front wheels here. These are the only two grease zerks on the machine, so it makes it really easy. I just wipe these off, clean them off, and then give them a couple squirts until you can see the grease starting to come out here. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and do the other side. So again, there's just two grease zerks. Pretty easy. And this is every 25 hours you do this. Alrighty, so now next thing we're going to do here is we're going to check the tire pressure. So all the tires should be filled up to 13 psi per the owner's manual. It does just say the rear tires. And when you look at the sidewall, I believe the back ones are like 24 psi at max load, and the front ones are like 29. I'm going to fill all of them up to 13. It doesn't say anything about the front wheels, but I'm just going to keep it consistent, put them all at 13 psi, and go ahead here. So here, let's go ahead and do it. Alrighty. There we go, good to go. Alrighty, so for the rear ones here, I have, it's Epalo. I got this off of Amazon. I'll put the link down below. But this is a digital tire gauge chuck, as well as it tells you what PSI is in there. So for example purposes here, I filled it up to 16, or a little over 16. Again, these tires should be at 13 PSI. So just to show you how this thing works, you got your little trigger here. You just go ahead and hit it slightly, just a little bit of trigger, and it will start releasing air through there. So you can see I'm getting down there. I'm actually going to go past past 13 here. So I'm at 12.4, and then to get air to go back into the tire, you give it the trigger a full trigger pull. And the reading when you pull it to fill it up is how many PSI is going through the machine, but you have to let go of the trigger to actually get the rating. So I'm at 13.8, so I'm going to go ahead and let her out a little bit here. There we go, 13.1. So pretty cool. Okay, next up we have to change or inspect the air cleaner. So it's right in the back here. Sorry, air filter. So just go ahead and lift it up. You can see I got some grass in here, so I'm going to go ahead and clean that. The part number for this air filter, it's a Steins 102442, and this replaces the Kawasaki 11013075 Okay, and then take this off. There's this little nut here. If this falls off, I'm sure there's a little nut driver that you can use. I'm not sure the size, but you got the plastic one here, or I got the plastic one here. So you just unloosen that, and then you just slightly bring this up, and it pops right on out of there. Okay, to clean these out, so mine actually doesn't look too bad, but what I do after every mowing is I go in and blow air through where the air would actually suck out of and go into the engine. So it's this little hole here. I blow out first, and then I just lightly blow the outside of it, and that works pretty good. Anyways, yep, we're just gonna blow this out. It looks pretty good. I'm not gonna change this new one. Everything looks fine. So. Alrighty, and then to put it back on, you'll see on this filter where the mesh meets. I always put this side down. I don't know if it really matters, but that's the way it was when I took it out, so I just always have done that. So right where the mesh meets, I just put down. And you just kind of go in at an angle like this, slide it in there, and then tighten up your nut again. That's that. Alrighty, so I've changed the oil here already in another video. Again, I'll link that up above here. But we're going to go ahead and do it here and try out that new pan that one of the viewers here commented that works really well. So here's your oil plug. You guys can see it in there. You have to put your hose in on the left hand side here, and your oil filter. So here we go. Let's do it. And with this drain, I let it drain right out the back here, and that works pretty darn good. So I'll just show you that so you can see the hose run right down into here, and then I put it right underneath this back, oops, right there, the back fender there, and then she'll drain right out of here for you. Alright, and then like I said, this is a 10mm socket here, and then I just have this adapter so that I can get in here. You can use a screwdriver if you need to. It's going good enough there. And one thing I always do here is I like to open up this cap, and that allows the airflow to come through. Alrighty, now I got my little dish in there. And one thing you're going to want to watch or look for is there's a little lip underneath the oil filter. You want to make sure that gets underneath there, because it's going to drain right in this little lip, in that little lip there, and then go into there. And if you're wondering what that red stuff is in that little pan there, that's just transmission fluid from when I changed my transmission, so don't get too excited. Okay, we'll just see if we can oops. Yeah, she's on there pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and use my oil wrench here. That was pretty slick. So if you guys remember in my other oil change video, all this oil just went down in here, and then you're cleaning it up, and dirt sticks to it. It's just a mess. So that worked out pretty slick. So thank you to whoever commented on that. I really appreciate it. Okay, and then the part number for the oil filter is a Stenz 120485, and this replaces a Kawasaki 49065-7007. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and clean this off right here. Pretty much all the oil is done dripping out of there. Did get a little bit of oil on there, so we're going to clean that off. And then one thing you will want to check is just to make sure that gasket came off. That did come off. When you do put in the new oil filter, make sure you put used oil around that gasket so it comes off nice every time. Alrighty, so I'm just going to dip my hand here in the used oil, and you're just going to go ahead and coat that around that gasket. Just a little bit's on there. You know, you can't really put too much, I guess, but that's to keep that gasket keep coming off with the oil filter and not get stuck on there. Alright, I'll go ahead and put this guy on. And then this you just put on hand tight. You don't need to crank it down with the wrench at all. Just get it on nice and hand tight. Okay, so while we are waiting for this oil to drain out, we're going to go ahead and check the spark plugs here. So there's two spark plugs. They're on the back side, right and left. So there's two of them here. And you're going to need a 13/16 socket to get them off. They're the bigger spark plug socket, which doesn't make any sense to me. When they're small engines, you have the bigger spark plug socket, but if you change a truck spark plugs, it's a smaller socket. I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me, but maybe you guys can tell me the reason why down below. So I'm just going to check these ones. They do recommend changing these. However, you can just inspect them. You don't have to replace them every time. Well, I don't believe you have to replace them every year, or every 100 hours, I should say. But what you're looking for is a light brown or gray on the insulator, that white part on there. If that means your engine is operating effectively. If you see a black coating on the spark plugs, then you know that your air cleaner is dirty. So that's one thing to know. Again, I'm just going to inspect these. I don't think we're going to have to change them until I start having issues, or maybe a couple years down the road. So, but if I have to change them, I'll change them. And then also the spark plugs, they're NGK BPR4ES, and the air gap between them is 0.03 inches or 0.75 millimeters. And then the torque pounds on there is 16 foot-pounds when you tighten them down. So anyways, here we go. Okay, these kind of pull off a little bit hard, but they do come off. Alrighty, I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see this at all, but there's a little light brown, like grayish coating on there, so everything is working good. These spark plugs look fine. I am going to check the gap here though, just to make sure that is good. It came from the factory like this, so it should be fine. But and then just remember that this is a 0.03 inches or 0.75 millimeters. So I'm just going to do 0.03 inches, because that's a full one. Yep, and that one's good there. So we're good to go. We're going to go ahead and reinstall this and keep moving along. The oil's almost done draining here, so here we go. One thing I will mention with spark plugs is to make sure you start these with your hand first. Don't start wrenching on them with the socket. You don't want to strip these out. Okay, so I got our hand tight. Now we'll go ahead and torque it down. Alright, there we go. Good to go. And I should mention this gets torqued down to 16 foot-pounds. Alrighty, it's pretty much done draining oil here. We're going to go ahead and close the drain plug here and fill her up with oil. Here we go. I would recommend closing this drain plug obviously before you go in take off that hose there. Otherwise, you're gonna you could potentially get even more oil around, but you're never gonna get every last little drop. So, and this you just get, it's a plastic nut, so just be careful when you tighten it. Only tighten it, pretty much hand tight, a little over hand tight. If that makes sense. So, don't wrench on it. Okay, there we go. We're gonna go ahead and take out the hose. And then we're just going to clean up the little bit of oil that spilled out of here. Alright, let's go ahead and fill it up. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and fill it up. You need 2.1 liters or 70 fluid ounces when you change the oil filter. And I should have mentioned with the oil filter, and I'll put it back, I probably put it in the comments back there. The oil filter only needs to be changed every 200 hours. So technically I could go 2 years on it. However, I've always grew up changing the oil and oil filter at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I think it's a pretty important step. But again, that oil filter only has to get changed every 200 hours. So, but anyways, yep, so you're going to need 2.1 liters in here when you change the oil filter. Otherwise, it's 1.8 liters or 61 fluid ounces if you just change the crankcase and not the oil filter. So we're going to go ahead and fill it up here. I obviously have a 5 quart oil here. So I'm going to just do a little bit at a time and then check it as I go. And then you are going to want to look down by the oil plug in the oil filter just to make sure you're not dripping any oil as you're filling it up. And we look pretty good here. Alright, we're just at the add line right now, so we got to add a little bit more. Okay, we're right at the full line. I'm actually going to add a little bit more here, just because we do have to fill that oil filter, so I'm going to go a little bit above the full here. And also I should mention, you know, I'm not putting full 5 quarts in there. I just had a 5 quart oil there. But anyways, yeah, so I want to go a little bit above the fill line, just to allow for that oil filter to change, or excuse me, for that oil filter to fill up. And when you are checking this oil, remember you don't tighten down that cap. You know, I know it. A lot of the older machines, you would tighten it down to check it. No, not this one. You go ahead and just set it in there. Don't tighten it down at all, and check it there. All right, so we're pretty good right there. I'm gonna run the engine here, and go ahead and get that oil filter filled up, and then we're gonna go ahead and check it again. It's always a good thing to check your oil level before each time you mow. Just get in the habit of doing that. That'll save you a lot of headache going ahead of time. But anyways, go ahead and run it here for a little bit, and then we'll check it again. I don't know what that was, 30 seconds. We're going to go ahead and check it again, see where we're at. Look good. Alrighty, and last thing is we gotta check the oil, or excuse me, check the fuel filter. The engine's running fine. I'll show you guys down here. The fuel filter looks good, so I'm actually not even gonna change it. But I do want to give you guys the part number in case you do need to change it. So yeah, so the part number on here, I don't know if you guys will be able to see it or not. Oh boy. I'll put it down on the screen right here. But the part number is 49019-0031, and then there's on the bottom there's a C2E9. So again, I'll put that down at the bottom of the link here for you guys. That was a fuel filter that came with the mower from the factory. So you could talk to your Toro dealer to get a replacement one. But those are the numbers on there. So yep, down below. Alrighty, so the next thing is we're gonna go ahead and check the belt. This is actually the last step here. So we're gonna go ahead and remove these covers. There's just a little button on the end there you push in and lift off. And then I'm just gonna go on one side. So when I'm looking here, I'm gonna look at the inside, and then I'm gonna look at the outside. If you do want to mark this, you can. Otherwise, just spin it around as much as you can. Just be careful not to pinch yourself as you're spinning that around. So yeah, so just look for any cracks, any abnormal wear if something doesn't look right, and if something doesn't look like, go ahead and change it, and you can go ahead and replace that, and yeah, that'll be it. But I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at this. Alrighty, I think that's it. I went around and checked the whole belt on there, the inside and the outside. Looked for any wear points. Everything looks good. So I do have my spare belt, but I'm not gonna swap it out. Everything is working fine there. So yeah, I think that concludes this video. I hope you guys got something out of it. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, comment them down below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I hope you really enjoy these videos. I obviously like making them for you, and we're getting a couple more subscribers here, but if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and subscribing and liking this video. That'd be a great help, and until next time, thank you guys so much. Have a good one.